The Running Man Championship in Tree City should elicit optimistic memories of classic rounds with staggering games. Lou's game-winning marble, Cougar's astonishing emblem-gripping, Pala's unexpected victory. The best contenders squaring off ought to be the peak of the competition. But in episodes 15 to 17, we got a game that was so ghastly and tragic. Lots of bad things went hanging around the contestants, nobody believed in the faith of the contestants, and the host literally tried to annihilate all of his players one at a time. This is the worst Running Man Championship game. Season 1, Episodes 15 to 17. Tree City. The contestants are about to board the Running Man Express for a nice train ride around the city during their day off. Back in the previous episode, Guy prevailed a controversial win in the third and final main solo game of the competition, wherein he sneaked towards the exit that is wide open before Lou and Cougar would get their butts kicked as they fought each other for nothing. But how did Guy manage to climb to the top quickly after Lou forced him to go back to jail? Well, that one plan still remains a mystery up until now, if this was planned by Charming Gold to help Guy win the competition or this was a simple hack that Guy created. So, we are still thinking hardly to get to the bottom of this. And spoiler, Lonky just peed his pants after a scary hand dragged him back to the jail. These contestants have been absolutely clobbering each other throughout this intense competition, and it did not take long for them to enjoy a pleasing train journey to roam around the great Tree City. So, let's regret about that controversial win and enjoy episode 15 featuring a satisfying train ride on the Running Man Express as all of the contestants hopped in. But wait, where is Pal? Pala is just slowly heading for the train platform and Lou notifies him that the train will leave soon. But while Pala is walking towards the train, he is bothered by several Pululus citizens. And all of a sudden, lots and lots of Pululus gathered around Pala. And Pala thinks that they are his fans. Pala tries to head back to the platform, but he is completely bothered by plenty of Pululus. Thankfully, he found a magnificent herb. So he combines it with water in his staff and drinks it. And he suddenly runs very fast to run over the Pululus. The Pululus try to stop him by tackling, hitting stuff, and putting a glass in front of him, but it turns out it did not work at all. Pala then jumps over a delirious crowd of Pululus to reach for the train, but came up short and fell in the middle of the crowd. The Pululus keep on bothering Pala, not allowing him to enter the train. Afterwards, the train doors close as the train leaves the station. Right after the train departed the station, the Pululu crowd begins to break up and leaves Pala without anyone around him. He then witnesses in anger that one of the game directors of the competition gives the Pululu crowd a credit for not allowing Pala to enter the train. Meanwhile in the train, the contestants are able to see an amazing view of the sultry and would then find their seats in the train. It is literally like an experience in a high-speed rail if you will find your seat. Guy wanted to sit beside Mio so bad, so he switched Popo's ticket quickly without noticing at all. Once he sat beside Mio, Guy is asked to buy refreshments for Mio because she is thirsty. So, Guy went to buy soda cans in the vending machine. But after being run by a Pululu without apologizing, the cans disappeared. He then sees a chubby Pululu carrying the cans with his little brother. Those two Pululus are legit doing an act of theft when they stole Guy's soda cans. So, Guy has to get them back. In the meantime, Lonky is supposed to sit beside Cougar, but he is quite nervous to ask him. Then, the two Pululus, who stole Guy's soda cans, walked over Lonky and stepped on Cougar's foot. And Cougar thinks that Lonky did step on his squeaky foot. Lonky tries to put the blame on the two Pululus, but Cougar still refuses to change his mind. Afterwards, the chubby Pululu also stole Lou's ticket without feeling shy or ashamed for what he had done. Popo then throws one of his cards in an oopsie-daisy way and it landed on the chubby Pululu's hands and he walked away without returning it. And so, the chaos erupts once again as Popo wants his card back by bothering the Pululu and looking hardly in his pockets. He found in his pocket a tube with a red liquid, a plastic cup, spare batteries, a large glass bottle, leftover cheese rings, and more soda cans. And these contestants deserve what they want from the Pululu thieves in an embarrassing disorder. Guy wants his special drinks back. Lonky wants them to apologize to Cougar for his stepping on his squeaky foot. And Popo wants his stolen card back. Subsequently, the ticket inspector came to check the valid train tickets as he witnessed what is happening in the caboose. And the other Pululu dropped Lou's stolen ticket into the inspector's slot. Lou realized that he is definitely on the right seat and shows the proof to the inspector by showing his train ticket. But it appeared that his buddy, Mr. Suitcase, lost the ticket without noticing at all. Lonky tries to tell to the inspector the truth behind all of this, as Liu also he knew that the Pululu did steal his train ticket. The dwarf Pululu again dropped a stolen ticket in the inspector's slot, and Lonky realizes instantly that it is Guga's ticket. He then called Guga right away to tell the truth behind this shameful chaos. Liu, Guy, Popo informed Guga that these two Pululu thieves stole something from them. You know it's bad when you are causing drama in public. Take these furious Running Man contestants for example. At this point, you may feel that both of these Pululu thieves are victims because the contestants think they want to obliterate them and to cause trouble, which makes the situation worse, as they demand something from them, especially a furious Popo who keeps on bothering the chubby Pululu just because he wants his card back. All of a sudden, the two thieves finally escape and run away from them. The contestants try to stop them, but it did not turn out well for them. A few minutes later, there is an emergency alert in the train. So, Mio and the other passengers run towards the end of the train. Mio then witnesses that the chubby Pululu got hurt really bad with his younger sibling sobbing, and asks to her competitors what actually happened. Liu responded to her with a shrug. Suddenly, a guy quickly puts police tape around the crime scene and tells the players to stay. He tells everyone in the crime scene that they are key suspects of the murder. Lonky clarifies to him that they did not even do anything bad, and Popo asks to him who he truly is. The guy introduces himself in an appalling twist. He called himself as the greatest detective in Tree City to give the contestants some shivering, and he solved exactly 430 cases under his belt with the span of 32 years.
I am Detective Frank!
Episode 15 comes to a trembling end, and it did not take long for this day off to also develop into a climax. As we head on to episode 16, Pala uses a railway handcar to follow the train. To those who don't know what a handcar is, let me define handcar by sharing a clip from a Phineas and Ferb episode because, why not?
Yours goes up when mine goes down, and then we do it the other way around. Don't you give me that sigh, cause if we can't see eye to eye, then our missions will be always filled with strife, cause a handcar is a metaphor for life.
So now you know what a handcar is. Pala has trouble using it because he has no one else on the other side to help. So, he stops for a bit and makes his herbs to boost him up. After drinking the herbs, he gains more energy and swiftly lifts up and down the handbar to help him go faster. And his high speed manages to come closer to the train. Pala then jumps to reach for the train. But after he loses his energy, he still barely made it. After seconds of rest, Pala opens the door at the back of the train, but it seems that something is blocking the door for it to open. Pala pushes the door as hard as he can. But after he finally managed to open the door, he suddenly sees the chubby Pululu who feels like he is in a coma right now as he lies down the floor. Pala freaks out and asks himself,
Did I do this?
Pala realizes that someone is approaching the back of the train and begins to hide. A witness came and she is frightened by the chubby Pululu and she thinks that it is a murder. Moments later, while Pala is hiding in the lavatory, he witnesses the scene when the detective introduces himself. Right after that, he handcuffs the contestants as suspects of the murder case. While Yu is trying to give attention to Frank, he handcuffs Sky and Mio. As Yu is still trying to get Frank's attention, he denies it and thinks that the contestants are still the culprits. Lonky asks to him why they are guilty because of the murder. So, Frank explains what the contestants did. He described the contestants a group of professional hitmen that plans a crime for at least 6 months. He also thinks that Popo tries to steal the victim's property for nothing. But at the time the ticket inspector asks for their tickets, he believes that nobody in the group bought a ticket before entering the train, and Lonky would tell the inspector that the victim stole the contestants' tickets as an act of accusing people. The group would then ask Guga to murder the victims, even as Mio would agree in her own way when it is the time to abandon the victims. Eventually, Guga punched the chubby Pululu as strong as he can. This course of events surprised the contestants, including Pala. Afterwards, Yu sees clues in the crime scene that there are footprints beside the victim, a bruise on his head but it is just mild, and the victim would get knocked down at the door. But Frank thinks that Yu accepts that the contestants are accused, and then predicts that they would run away from the scene by passing through the lavatory where Pala is hiding. But as he opened the lavatory door, it seems that Pala escaped through the window. Frank then believes that they did escape through the window and goes through the window to find some more clues in the train. The contestants followed him too as they climbed on top of the train. Frank then said to the contestants they definitely escaped on top of the train too. After Pala finally went inside the train, he would get knocked down by his competitors and Detective Frank, who would fall down to get inside the train. All of the contestants have dust on their faces because of the atmosphere outside the train. Thankfully, Lonky found some towels to wipe away the dust from their faces. But Pala would leave away from his competitors right away because they might see him. When Liu laughed at his own face, he then sees another towel with a different. As Pala tries to run away, he would still end up at the crime scene, again. He stepped on a long red chalk as the contestants run back to the crime scene too. Liu said that the mystery of the murder is almost solved because he gets more clues about the suspect. He draws the suspect by using the chalk that Pala stepped. He drew 3 feet, and 2 horns. Liu also said that the suspect escaped through the window, went back inside, and wiped his face using a towel just like the others did. While Pala feels anxious when Liu said all of that, Liu placed the towel in the center of the drawing to completely draw the suspect. He further said that the suspect is already in the crime scene too and pointed more footprints.
Now if we follow these footprints, the suspect is... Paula? What the? It's really Paula?
Pala comes down from the top of the vending machine and said that he wanted to have a nice trip with his fellow competitors in the train. Instead, this train trip turned into a murder case, and that is never a good thing for anyone. It's gotten so bad the episode is about to end with Frank handcuffing Pala to become another key suspect of the murder as all 7 contestants are all suspects. But all of a sudden, the chubby Pululus finally stood up but with his eyes blooming red, which made the contestants frightened. And Pala would get bitten by the Pululus. Episode 16 ended with a horrifying twist. But going into episode 17, when the episode title card pops up in our television screens, we finally realize that the day off for the contestants is definitely a game. As the episode is about to begin, Pala is tangled by the chubby Pululus. The other contestants and Frank then run away from them, and Pala and the chubby Pululus lose their minds and act like zombies. They would bite more passengers in the train, adding the zombie population in the train, and that includes Frank too. This Korean animation series has gotten so bad, even the creators of this show for kids decide to just add some climax, by adding zombies in the show. And that is never a good thing for any child to watch, and let the children show some more fear, because this Mio's way of threatening anyone, and the scenes regarding the murder case are not enough. Will you close the door quickly to avoid the zombies from coming in? And thankfully, the contestants are barely safe. Later, Lonky stepped on something, which made him horrified. Kika gripped her with his paw and she is a Pululus doctor. She said that a virus is spreading inside the train, which is called the red virus. It originated from the red liquid from the chubby Pululus pocket. The doctor then picked up the liquid, but it is empty, which the virus has already spread. It seemed that the chubby Pululus drank the red liquid and turned into a zombie, and he is the first one to get infected by the red virus. The doctor stated that they need to release the blue vaccine right away to stop the outbreak. Unfortunately, they have to go to the luggage car, where the blue vaccine is. But after Yu teaches everyone the train layout, including the location of the luggage car, he accidentally opens the door to let the zombies chase them. So, they run away as fast as they can, again. The infected people would bite more Pululus citizens in the train to increase the number of zombies, especially Lonky, who got bitten by Frank when he tries to reach for Frank's handcuff keys. And more zombies climb to the top of the train to let the contestants have a hard time to escape. Lonky feels afraid that he will turn into a zombie soon. And so, he wanted everyone to go to the luggage car immediately before he does. As Lonky, Kyuga, Miyo, and Guy clobbered their way to head to the luggage car and avoid the zombies from biting them, Popo would then close the door right away because he thinks that he and Liu are safe. But they would eventually get bitten by the infected Pululus doctor. And soon, Lonky also turns into a zombie, and Kyuga ties him up pretty bad as a protection for his paw. Gross. As the remaining contestants fled to the luggage car, they punch many zombies as they can, while Guy got a sniff of Miyo's hair. But as Guy and Miyo head to the end of a car, Miyo would get bitten by an infected Pululus, which caused her to get weak. Guy realizes what happened to Miyo's hand and knows that she got bitten by one of the zombies. After Guy carried Miyo to slowly walk to the luggage car, Kyuga pushed them right after his head is bitten by an infected Lonky. So, it is up to Guy to find the blue vaccine with an infected Miyo. Guy keeps on finding the vaccine inside the car until he found the doctor's bag. He picked up the blue vaccine and let Miyo drink it. After drinking the vaccine, Miyo falls asleep instead of turning into a zombie. Guy would then have a nice rest with his favorite competitor until the train arrived at the final station. As Guy walks out of the train while carrying Mio, he sees a frenzied group of Pululus, and the host of the competition. Charming Gold informs to Guy that he planned everything from the very start, including the murder case, and the red virus. So, Gold here is trying to give the players a horrendous time to ruin their day off, without knowing that this is actually a game.
Running Man hidden game, escape the train. I commend your efforts in this arduous journey.
Friend, this is not a game. This is something darker, more sinister. When this horrifying hidden game is finally over, Guy and Mio would end up as the victors of the game. Here are a few things that are true. Out of all the 7 Running Man contestants, 5 of them turned into zombies due to the red virus. And one of them is ended up as the secret main character of the game, without knowing. And the red virus could be an epidemic like the COVID-19 global pandemic, which affected globally with millions of cases reported, and there are still no effective vaccines to combat the pandemic. But thankfully, the red virus was not able to spread outside the train as the situation inside is fine. But the Pululu doctor would get kidnapped by a giant robot for nothing. But a question remains, is this truly the worst Running Man championship game of all time? Surely, there are some other contenders. Take for instance the next team match of the competition, when Pallet is brainwashed by a red shard, coming from the Mask of Macon, also known as the Cougar Man. But you would erase that when the other contestants team up to start one of his clever operations. Or perhaps the first meeting between the Running Man contestants and the DV7, which ended in a controversial lopsided victory thanks to a brainwashed guy because of his sacrifice to ruin Charming Gold's strategy to defend the Materian. But as a result, this enjoyable day off for the contestants turned into a dreadful hidden game that is filled with treacherous circumstances. This game would have been a contender for the worst Running Man championship game, as the series has gotten worse just because of some climax to let the children get scared for 3 torturous episodes, including an embarrassing drama to ruin their sham-planned day off, the murder case on account of the 2 Pululu thieves, the unnoticeable red virus, the horrifying zombies, the unexpected injuries, the host conspiring against the contestants to remind us how despicable he is, and plenty more make this the hands-down, indisputable, worst Running Man championship game the host has ever delivered. And this game would give